So you've wandered onto 4chan and discovered V the Musical, a parody song project dedicated to slandering and bastardizing the one thing this community claims to love and have in common: video games. If you like making music as much as you pretend to like Dark Souls, this project will fit you like the left prong of a DualShock 4 in your older brother's anus. We are basically nobody, and this is how to write for V the Musical. For this video, we'll be referencing the first song I ever did, Shit Like EA, from the first musical. Not only because I handled it from start to finish, but your first time is never your best effort, so this is what Anonymous looked like when he was where you are now, on the outside looking in. You want to sing a song, somebody's got to write a song. Maybe that someone's you. Let's say you're browsing your favorite gaming news source and those rat bastards at EA have taken it too far. After killing your and everyone else's favorite studios, they've introduced online passes to charge you monthly to play online, in addition to Xbox, your IP provider, your power company, and your cousin Eddie all taking a piece of that sweet discretionary income. Well, you don't work 2 afternoons a week at McDonald's just to piss it all away in front of a screen. Maybe you want a girlfriend one day. Later, when you're watching your favorite Disney movie, you get to the bad guy singing about how big of a bad guy they are, and suddenly it clicks. Hey, this bad guy is like EA. I'm gonna go write this song into how big of a bad guy they are. It's at this point you want to go find an instrumental track for the singer to use. They won't go looking themselves. Make their job as easy as possible. For Disney songs, it's pretty simple because they'll never stop making themselves available. But for that obscure indie hit that perfectly fits your theme, find an unwilling to remake it before you spend 3 hours crafting your masterpiece with no way to get it sung. So you've got your song and a head full of ideas to convey your theme and message through it. Now comes the hard part: actually writing the goddamn parody. Everyone's got a style. One day, you'll have yours. When I was starting out, I knew 2 things for certain. I wasn't funny, and I was really good with facts. So I peppered it with facts. I made them hit as hard as I could, and I let the music sell it. Your audience is 4chan V. Use facts that hurt. Use jokes they'd understand. They'll love you for it. Make sure your shit rhymes where it needs to, and do what you can to replace the original lyrics. A mark of a great parody is how much of the original text you manage to replace. That said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and don't sweat it if you need to keep most of a line just to end it with games. It's an advanced technique, but worth remembering as you get good. Now, before you go throwing your magnum opus onto the Google Doc, I want to run you through some rule of thumb quality checks. You're giving this to anonymous strangers for them to work on in their own time without your input. If they've loved Devo since they were 7 but they can't sing your cover of Whip It, then guess who screwed up? This is when you perform an ancient art known as proofreading. Sing your song out loud. I don't care how bad you are. This is to double check your lyrics for any strange deviations from the original text. These people aren't inside your head. If you make some fancy change to the syllable count or line flow, they won't know how you meant for it to be sung. Unless you record a demo. What's a demo? It's you giving a dry run of the song so people can make sense of your offbeat word salad lyrics. After you've written your song and you've made sure interested parties will have a fun time working on it, slap it onto the Google Doc and tell your friends at 4chan there's a new way to tell EA how badly they fucked up. Or you could try singing it yourself. There's a million guides on YouTube about how to sing. We aren't covering that today. We're covering 2 other equally important things. 1, how to record clearly, and 2, how to get over the initial fear of singing for others online.
But everyone sounds so good. How could I possibly compete?
First thing you gotta realize is that this is not a competition. It's a free project done by people who don't need credit, who tinker with it in their spare time for the lulz. Just the fact that you want to contribute is gonna make somebody's day. We're not looking for greatness here. We don't care if you're underage, untrained, and talking into a tin can on a wire. Just be authentic and be willing to give the best performance that you can.
I don't wanna be a wage slave anymore. It's been a year or 2 since I broke the catalog.
Shoutouts to El Pato. If you get embarrassed at an opt-in, anonymous online musical, you need more help than your precious anime body pillow could ever provide. Find a free audio recording software like Reaper or Audacity, grab the instrumental your writer so helpfully provided, and get cracking. If your mic allows it, plug in some headphones so you can track your performance in real time. If it doesn't, plug headphones into your computer directly so you can hear the instrumental while you sing. If it's coming out of your speakers while you're laying down the vocals, Guess what? It's looping right back into the microphone and we can hear that shit. You may notice the instrumental sounds different than the original song. Many karaoke tracks can be a different speed than the original or in a different key, meaning they're sung in a higher or lower range. When recording vocals, always do it over the instrumental, not the original song. If the instrumental doesn't match, you'll end up wasting your time making voice tracks you can't use. Great practice, but bad product. When making love to your mic, understand what your equipment can handle and never peak. What's peaking? It's when you're louder than the mic can handle and it turns your waveforms into Legos. No! No! You want to be as loud as possible without peaking. If you need to, adjust the gain on your mic or in your program, or just back away when you do the loud notes. There's no way to fix peaking after you do it, so don't do it in the first place. Speaking of things the editor can't fix, if you're recording in a closet and you notice an echo, that's no bueno. We're not perfectionists here, but if you can make a clean sounding recording, you'll end up with a much better product. Sound waves will bounce off every surface until they dissipate, and your job is to mitigate that dispersion, thus winding up with a clean vocal performance. If you're hardcore, put foam or blankets on your walls, or at least the corners, because that's where sound tends to collect and magnify. If you're casual, sing under a blanket. It may look dumb, but again, you're anonymous and nobody knows or will give a shit. The only thing they'll notice is, hey, this sounds pretty good. It doesn't sound like it was recorded in a bathroom. Finally, do everything you can to eliminate background noise. It may be 100 degrees in your backwater shithole apartment, but if you can hear the AC, we can hear the AC. Suffer for your art and sing without it. You'll thank yourself later. After you're satisfied with your performance, upload your clean vocals to the dock so an editor can turn them from good to great and make a final mix worthy of meme history. You could also do it yourself. Won't learn unless you try, right? You've got your instrumental, you've got some vocals going over them, and now it's time for the final step between musical wannabe and hotshot 4chan autistico supreme, editing and mixing. You can just slap them together and call it a day, or you can begin to learn the little details that make a song transcend being merely good enough and have it become great. First things first, volume. The vocals should be loud enough to hear, but not so loud that they overpower the instrumental. It may be a karaoke track, but merely being karaoke is not the goal. They need to sound natural together, you know, like all those songs you hear on the radio. This may involve turning the loud parts quieter and quiet parts louder using Audacity's Amplify feature. Other useful tools include silence. When you sing, it's natural to also breathe. Since nobody is Tay except for Tay, expect the mic to pick up some breathing in a vocal track. Normally I silence breathing, but sometimes I just turn it down if I feel it's useful for dramatic effect. You also want to silence any other odd noises that occur off vocal, like coughing. Get it as clean as possible. If the song was sung all in one take, you may notice certain parts come out earlier or later than they were supposed to. When the line arrives late, my go-to strategy in Audacity is to cut some silence from before the word and paste it afterward. This moves the word forward in the track without changing the overall length of the song, leaving the rest of your timing intact. There are many other ways, but that's mine and it works, and it doesn't hurt to have it in your back pocket. Now that you have a track as clean as you can make it, with timing as tight as you can make it, we get to play with the fancier settings in vocal effects that really put a cherry on top of any piece for the project. Reverb is a tool that adds, you guessed it, reverb to the vocals. Generally, you only want light reverb, not enough that most people notice the first time through. They'll think it sounds better than the clean vocals, but they won't know why. That's you being a production wizard. Compression is another useful tool that makes loud parts quiet and quiet parts loud. It makes the overall production more consistent. Again, only use a little because people already have an expectation of loud and quiet, and you don't need someone's highest note sounding like their lowest whisper. With all that done, export your work into a listenable audio file. A lossless format like FLAC is the patrician's choice, but if your internet connection is managed by carrier pigeons, then a high-quality MP3 will do just fine. Throw that shit up on the dock and crack open a nice can of game fuel, cause you've earned it. So there you have it. That's what you need to survive in this cutthroat world of anonymous music making. Apply these rules and you'll be above average in no time. And above average on 4chan means drowning in use. Get out there, have fun, and keep it vidya. Shoutouts to everyone who's ever worked on the musical and kept things real. This project would be impossible without every hardworking anon either behind the scenes or in the trenches making new magic every day. Also, shout out to Soul Brother number 3 and his voice acting videos because we basically copied and stole the format. Check him out if you want to learn more about audio, because we really only scratched the surface in comparison. I hope he likes my Yeti.
No! Life is process, stay stable. Life is nothing, stay stable. Life is boring, stay stable. Life is made, stay stable. Life is time, stay stable. Yoko Taro, stay stable.